Okay, so we are still going to wait a couple more minutes for everybody to join us. But in the meantime, I'm going to get started with some introductions to Culikid and to the class and to you guys. So first of all, happy early Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't cooked with us before, I'm Kelly from Culikid, and so I'll be leading our class today. So excited to see some returning faces as well as some new faces. So welcome to everybody. I just want to let you all know that this meeting is being recorded. This class is being recorded. So if you don't want your face on the camera for the recording, you can turn your video off. But we always say we do appreciate when you all have it on so we can see you, see what you're doing when you're cooking, and make sure that we're all on the same page. We'll also do some screenshots of the cooking process too. So again, if you don't want those shared on social media or anything like that, you can let us know in the chat and we'll be sure to just block out your face and make sure that's not shared. Or like I said, turn your video off. So if you don't know about Culikid yet, we are a nonprofit based in New York City. We're so excited to be able to do virtual programming that we can reach everybody, no matter where you're located.
I think it's
Our programs are focused on culinary experiences, and we try to target social and independence skills. So you all are here for this wonderful class. We have these a couple times a month. So our next class will be on the 27th, and we'll make some roasted carrots with pesto made from the carrot top. So it'll be a lot of fun. So you'll have that link later in the chat so you can register for that, and I'll also send you an email. Last couple of things, if you are cooking with somebody at home and you're taking pictures of the cooking process and of your final products, we would love, love, love to see them. So please send them to us or tag us on social media. That will be in the chat as well. And then we want to share some Culikid gear with you all. So if you are interested in getting a free Culikid grocery bag, you can follow us on social media by the end of the weekend, and you can be entered to win that sent right to your door for free. So let's get started. We use the chat to communicate. So we're going to try that out right now. If everybody can say in the chat your name and what kind of toppings you're using for your brownies. So I'm going to get us started here. I'm using some red and pink M&Ms and some gold sprinkles. And I see we got some sprinkles. And hi, Suani. Hi, Isabella. Pink, Cooper. Hi. Jacob and James are also using M&Ms. So cool. Oh, so great. Hi, Sama. Hi, Lisa. Hi, everybody. Okay, very cool. Tiny hearts. So we've got all of our themes. We're just doing some plie, and that's awesome. So this recipe will give you some brownies, and then the toppings on the top are all optional, and that will make it Valentine's Day themed. So you can also use these for other kinds of brownies and other events. Hi, Olivia's using candy hearts, and Ariana is using marshmallows. Janice using powdered sugar and raspberries. So great. Okay, so for us to get started, we always want to preheat our oven if we're baking. So we are going to preheat it to 300 degrees. Okay, so go ahead and get your ovens started. So you want to preheat it in advance so that way it's ready to go. As soon as your brownies are done, they can go right into the oven. And let's get started with our first step. So we need our mixing bowl. This is so easy. All of our ingredients can go right into that one bowl. So it's going to be nice and easy like that. So we're going to get started with our butter or oil. Okay. So we're going to take our melted butter. It should be 3/4 cup that you have melted already, or measure 3/4 cup of oil and put that into your bowl. And I'm just going to use this little rubber spatula to make sure I get all of that butter. Okay. Butter in the bowl. All done. Okay. So we always want to make sure that we're also all on the same page together. So we'll ask everybody to give us a thumbs up when you're ready. And so when your butter's in the bowl, give us a thumbs up. As I mentioned, since we have such a large class today, it's hard to see everybody all at once and see all the thumbs up. So if we move on because we thought we saw everybody and you're not ready, just let us know by unmuting or by talking in the chat. Okay, and then in case you missed something I say, you can always ask us to repeat it, but you can also check in the chat. We have Doug who is sending you the ingredients in case you need to double check that and the measurements that go with it. Okay, before we keep going with our ingredients, I forgot one thing, which is that we need to get our pan ready, which means we need to spray it with nonstick cooking spray so that way our brownies don't stick. If we forget this step, then we'll have brownies stuck to our pan that we can't get out into nice, beautiful squares. So with our cooking spray, I give it a good shake and then spray and move at the same time. Oof, just inhale some of that. Okay, you want to make sure you got all the sides and the bottom so you don't have any sticking points. So we'll put that to the side for us later once our batter is ready. Okay, and if anybody just joined us, we had a couple people just come in, I think. So if you did just join us, we have only gotten started with our first couple of steps. Preheat your oven to 300 degrees, nonstick cooking spray on your pan, and 3/4 of butter or oil in your bowl. And that's melted butter. Okay. I think by all that talking time, we're ready for our next step, which is going to be our sugar. It is 1.5 cups of sugar. So grab our sugar. We need 2 measuring cups, so 1 cup and a 1/2 cup. And we need to measure to make sure that it's even on top with the measuring cup. So measure it, and you can use the back of one of your utensils to just flatten across the top and put that into the same bowl with your sugar. I'm sorry, with your butter. This is sugar. So that was my 1/2 cup. So I still need 1 cup more. You can also try pouring it if your cup doesn't fit into your sugar. Okay, but you want to be nice and slow so it doesn't go over the top. So you don't spill it everywhere. But if you do spill, it's okay. We just clean up at the end. And put that other one into your bowl. We usually like to cook healthy at Culikid. A lot of butter, a lot of sugar isn't the healthiest, but we're going to just, eat this just occasionally. This is a special treat for a holiday. We'll have a small brownie and share with everybody. So let's see. How are we doing with our sugar? I still see some people measuring. I see some thumbs up. So we're going to give it another couple of minutes or so. Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Wait a minute. Gonna break cooking class. Get it going.
Okay, we're gonna mute ourselves, okay?
I didn't catch all of it. Did you have a question or are you just saying hello?
Oh, we're just saying hi.
Okay, perfect. Glad to see you. Okay, so let's see. Do we have sugar in our bowls? Thumbs up if you do. Okay. How about this? We try, if we don't have your sugar in your bowl, raise your hand. Okay, I didn't see any. I think we're good. Okay. Now we're going to move on to our salt. The recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon of salt. But if you use salted butter, you might want to cut that down a little bit. So you can use, if you use it unsalted, do 1/2 teaspoon. If your butter's salted, do a little bit less. The oven, okay. All right, so we just pour in our salt, nice and slow. Oops, you can't see me. We pour that in nice and slow. This it's kind of heavy and pours fast. It might be hard to do in here. So something I suggest is that you could pour some salt into a measuring bowl, like a little measuring cup or a prep bowl, and scoop from there instead of pouring. Okay, and then we put our salt in. Okay, now we mix. So as soon as you have your butter, sugar, and salt in, you can go ahead and mix. And I can see Troy wrote into the chat that the mixture looks like a mango slushy. And it does kind of look like a slushy as you're mixing it. That's very astute. All right, so you're mixing it just to combine here. Make sure you have none of your sugar that's dry or anything like that. Give that a good mix. And now I'm gonna check back in and see, I see some mixing still going on. So I'm not gonna ask for thumbs up quite yet. I'm gonna give you all a few more minutes. Now, this will come into play a little bit later, but the whole time when you're making brownies, you wanna make sure not to over mix. Over mix means mixing too much. So if you do that, then that's mostly with the flour, but then you end up with a texture to your brownies that aren't so great. We want them to be fudgy and wonderful and delicious. How are we doing? Thumbs up if you are done mixing. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up, so I'm gonna get ready to move on to our next step. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my camera down so you can see. Next is gonna be our eggs. There we go. So we're doing 3 eggs, and I have this little prep bowl here, which I always recommend when we're doing eggs because you never know if you're gonna get some shell. So we're gonna give it a solid tap on the counter to break it, and then open it up with your hands. And we look into this bowl to see if there's any shells. And once we make sure that there's not, we can pour that into our bowl. Okay, and we keep going with our next one. Nice solid tap on the counter and into the prep bowl. No eggshells. A good trick if they get stuck and the egg is like a little bit goopy is that an eggshell itself is actually the easiest way to get that out. And into the bowl we go with number 2. And number 3. Into the bowl. Okay, if you have raw eggs on your hands after that, you want to make sure you wash them. So you don't want that to touch other things. You don't want those hands to go into your mouth because raw eggs could potentially get you sick. So we want to make sure to wash our hands. So I'm going to take a break and do that right now.
So cool. Let's crack more eggs. Ow. Owie, 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 owie. Yes.
Okay, so wash my hands after the eggs. And if you have any on your counter too, you want to wipe down your counter and make sure that that's not contaminating anything else. We're going to be good because we're going to cook our eggs. So let's see, I see some eggs in bowls. I see some thumbs up. Do we have 3 eggs in a bowl? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay. I think that was a lot of thumbs up, so I'm gonna get ready to keep going. Remember though, if I don't see you and you're not ready, just let us know. We need more time. We wanna make sure we're all on the same step together, okay? Next is going to be our vanilla. So we got vanilla extract, and we're gonna do 2 teaspoons. So we have a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon, and we're going to do that 2 times into our bowl. And this one I just do right over the bowl because like if it comes out slowly, and if you get a splash more of vanilla, like if it overflows a little bit, it's okay. Okay, that was 1, and now we've got 2. Vanilla in the bowl, so 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Everybody looks like they're doing so great. Okay, so you can move on to the next step whenever you're ready. We're going to mix, but we want to make sure that our egg yolks break and we can get our eggs all mixed up. So I'm going to take my spoon that I'm mixing with and just go right into each of the 3 egg yolks and break them up. First, they're broken up, and now I can mix. So you want to make sure that this all gets combined. You don't see any of those yolks floating around. You don't see any more mango slushy. Okay, and when I mix, I'm doing this like going underneath, right? Going underneath and pulling it to the top, coming right through the middle. Whoops, I just splashed myself. So we have an apron.
I'm sorry, Kelly. Did you mix the eggs into the butter and sugar already, or?
Yes. So
Okay.
everything's all going into the same bowl. The eggs went in, and then 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And that's what we're mixing up right now. So in your bowl, you should have sugar, butter or oil, salt, eggs, and vanilla. We only have a couple of ingredients remaining after this. So this is going so quick. Okay, so I'm still mixing because I want to make sure like all my eggs, I still see like a little bit of egg yolk that's kind of standing out. You know you're done mixing when your mixture all looks the same. Okay. And remember, once that it's all mixed up, you can just be done mixing and wait for the next step. I already see somebody with a thumbs up, Olivia. Nice. See some more. Okay, so some people are done mixing. I see some mixing still going on, so no rush. Okay, are we ready? I see a lot of thumbs up. Can we get a hand raise if you're not done with this step, not done mixing? Hand up. Okay, I see a couple are still mixing, so keep going. We'll wait another moment for everybody to catch up. No rush. Okay. So let's see, a couple mixing. So it's okay, keep going. But the next thing that we're gonna get ready to do will be our cocoa powder. And the easiest way to measure this, depending on the size of your container and the size of your measuring cup, might be to use a spoon to scoop. So those might not have been in the supply list. So if you want to use a spoon to scoop, go ahead and grab that. And actually grab 2, because we'll do the same thing for our flour. We'll scoop that too. Okay, I'm gonna get us started then on our cocoa powder. So we need 2/3 of a cup of cocoa powder, and most measuring sets won't have 2/3 of a cup ready to go, but you probably have a 1/3 cup, 1/3, and we'll use that twice. So let's go. This is the part where my counter is gonna get a little bit messy, but that's okay. So got my measuring cup, open up the cocoa powder, and we're gonna scoop it in. So I'm taking a spoonful, putting it in there until we get full. Okay, and we're gonna go a little bit over and then use the back of our spoon over the cocoa powder container to even it out. And into our bowl it goes. Remember, that's just 1/3, so we're going to do that a second time, that whole thing. And like I said, making a mess, but that's okay. We can always clean up a mess. And then use my back of my spoon to straighten it out. And in we go. Okay, so we should have 2/3 of cocoa powder in the bowl. Do we have our cocoa powder in? Thinking it's just a few, so we'll just wait a minute. Okay, I think we might be ready. Raise your hand if you're not ready. Okay, I saw a hand raise. Saw a couple. All right, so we'll give it another minute. In the meantime, so I'll just point out that we're going to use the same measuring cup again, and I'm going to scoop mine, so I don't need to clean it. Scoop mine with a spoon. If you're going to scoop into the container, go ahead and clean your cup so that way it doesn't get cocoa powder into your flour. Okay? Okay. So I think we're ready. Okay. So now we will open up our flour and do the same thing. So it's the same measurement, 2/3 cup. So we're doing 1/3 of a cup twice. And I'm going to scoop it with a spoon into my measuring cup. Real big mess there. That's okay. Straighten it out. And into the bowl we go. Doing my 3rd cup a second time. Straighten it out. And in we go. I'm going to take a minute and put the things I don't need in the sink. Tidy up my station a little bit and clean up my flour. Do not start mixing this just yet. This is the part where you want to be really careful not to overmix. So if you have your flour in, go ahead and just take a pause and clean up your cooking station and get ready. Okay. All right, do we have flour in a bowl? Thumbs up if you do. Okay, I think I saw a lot of thumbs up, but if you didn't, that's okay. You can still keep doing it. Our next step is just to mix. So you can do that whenever you're done measuring. So this is where we want to make sure that we do not over mix. So we're going to just, again, come from the bottom and pull our mixture on top, come through the middle and the bottom. You want to make sure that you're scraping the sides and you want to mix it so it's all the same and you don't see any of this flour or cocoa powder, or in the middle I have my sugar and egg mixture. So just keep going with that and If you're mixing with one person, as you can see, I'm using my other hand to keep my bowl sturdy. So if you're cooking with a team of people, you can have one person hold the bowl and one person mix, and then maybe switch jobs so you all get a turn. Okay. Now you can see mine is starting to look like brownie batter, but I still have all of this cocoa powder and flour. So we're going to keep going. And make sure you get all on the sides where you have flour piled up. Okay, and I just saw in mine like a chunk of sugar that was just holding itself together through all this. So if you see anything like that, go ahead and smash your chunks, anything, so they all get distributed. And we are really, really close. Get that piece. And now this is what my batter looks like. Okay, we got dark brown. It looks all wet all through. We have no pieces of flour or cocoa powder that looks dry. So that is what we were looking for in our brownie batter. As soon as you get that, stop mixing. Okay, because if you keep mixing and keep mixing, then you'll end up with something like your brownies might be like a little dense, more, I know cake sounds good, but like more cakey than fudgy. So we want to have fudgy good brownies. I see Olivia's done mixing. I see Caitlin's done mixing. And Joshi and Cooper and Isa, Sophia, and Jacob, I think. 2 thumbs up. Okay. And Seth and Emily, I'm sorry if I don't call you out by name. I'm trying my best to see all of you. This is so great to have so many people joining us today. Okay, I see some mixing still going on. Can I see hands up if you're still mixing? Raise your hand if you're still mixing. I don't think I see anybody. Doug, anything? No, okay. All right, so our next step, our brownie batter is all done. See how fast that was? So easy. So now we're ready to put it into our pan. Go ahead and grab the pan that you put aside before, put it on your counter next to your bowl. And we are going to just scrape this whole thing in. So you might need somebody to help you hold the bowl, but we're just going to go ahead and use our spoon or spatula, scrape it all in. Okay, you want to make sure to get all of that goodness. So keep scraping the sides, get everything out. All right, and only because my hands are clean, because I had just washed them, I'm gonna use my finger to get the rest off of here. If you don't like touching food or your fingers are not clean, you can use like a spoon or something like that. Okay, and then if it hasn't done it already, see, I don't know if you can tell, not without me tilting it, there we go. But this corner has a little bit, like it's not all the way to the corner. So we want to use our spoon or spatula now and push the batter all the way to the corner. Okay, so push from the center out to the corner, get it nice and flat and filled, fill your pan. Okay, scrape that off. Might be tempting, but don't eat it because we have raw eggs. So we can't eat anything with raw eggs. You have to be patient and wait until it cooks. I'm gonna put my stuff, my dirty stuff in the sink, wash my dirty hands, and come back for our next step. Okay. Hands are washed, brownies are ready, and now we get to do our fun part, which is going to be our toppings. Okay, does everybody have brownies in the pan? I see some, nice. Okay, good, lots of thumbs up, lots of brownie pans. Good, good, good. I can already see a couple of people still scraping, so let's give them a minute and then we'll see if we're ready to move on. And what do you think our last step is? Does anybody know?
Sprinkle.
Toppings. Yeah, sprinkles, toppings, all of that fun stuff. So some of you aren't using toppings, so skip this. Some of you mentioned you're using raspberries, and you probably want to skip that too. I think like the fresh raspberries on top would be good. You can try putting them in.
Put this? Okay.
How that comes out, but I haven't tried it. You can just do them without. And everything else can go on. Powdered sugar, you want to wait till the end too. So you've got M&Ms, sprinkles, candy hearts, that kind of stuff we're going to put on now. So this is not an exact measurement. We're going to just do what we feel and make this look nice and festive and delicious. So I've got my M&Ms here. I'm going to just pour into my hand a little bit at a time and then sprinkle it on top. And I want to make sure to spread them out so it looks so festive and great, and each bite is the same, right? So we want to just do a couple at a time, not dump our whole handful on at once. And I definitely need some more. All right. Away. On before they melt in my hands. And remember, this is only because we have our clean hands that we can do this. So that's why you want to clean, clean, clean as you go. Sprinkled them on. All right, so I've spread out I got my sprinkles on like that. Not too much, it's not covering the whole thing. You can still see some brownies in here. And then I also have some sprinkles I'm gonna add too. And these, I'm just gonna shake on the top, nice and slow. Okay. Sprinkles on top too. So whatever you got, sprinkle those on. I'm going to show you actually something cool that you could do with the powdered sugar if you're doing powdered sugar at the end while everybody's finishing up their toppings, is that we can take a napkin. We're going to make a heart on our brownie with powdered sugar, and you just do that by taking a napkin, find out where the fold is, so that way you're cutting on that side, and we're going to cut half a heart. And if it helps you, you can draw it first. Okay, so we've cut out half a heart. And then when you unfold it, you have a whole heart. And what you can do at the end, after they're done baking, is you put your heart on top of your brownie and you can sprinkle your sugar on there, and then you'll have a heart imprint on your brownie. I see a question in the chat from Olivia. Great question. Olivia is asking, why don't we use baking soda or baking powder? So you use that a lot when you bake, and those two things make your things that you're making, your cakes, your whatever, rise. So we don't want our brownies to rise. That would be more like a cake. And we want our brownies to just stay the way they are and be really nice and fudgy. So that's why. Did that answer your question? Yeah? Good question. Yeah, those things make things rise up and get like nice and fluffy and airy. And these we want just to stay the size that they are. Okay. Do we have toppings on if we're using toppings? Toppings are on the brownies? Yes, awesome. Oh, I love those sprinkles. Who is that? Ariana, nice. And Suani, I see your hearts. And I also see Hala and Caitlin. Oh, half and half. I like that. Half of them have M&Ms and half have raspberries. And more sprinkles. Great. You guys look so festive. Great job. So when you're ready, we can put these in the oven. So even though the pan isn't hot, we're going to put on our oven mitt because the oven is hot and grab our pan and get this into our oven. Put that on top. Now, this is the hard part. We have to be patient and wait. So get those into your oven, close that, and they're gonna bake for 45 to 50 minutes. So that's kind of a long time. So we're gonna set our timers. Always start on the shorter side, 45. I think when I cooked them before, I think it took them about 48 for me. So what you're gonna do is when your timer goes off, you're gonna check them and see if they've cooked through. And what you can do is use a toothpick. So that's on your ingredient list, or you could use like a skewer or something like that. So use a toothpick and insert it into the center of your brownies. This is gonna be a little bit different than something like cake. When you cook cake, you want it to come out completely clean and basically look like a brand new toothpick. When you're cooking brownies, you'll get a little bit of the fudginess on the toothpick, and that's okay. You just don't want it to be wet. You don't want it to be all wet from checking it. So it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit gray area where we're trying to find somewhere in between, okay? We're using a Pyrex baking dish. How long should we bake for? I am actually not sure. I haven't done the brownies in that. Is it the same size? Is it a square for Elisa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just a glass baking dish.
Sorry?
It's a glass baking dish, the Pyrex glass baking dish. So I was just wondering, do we cook it the same amount of time as a regular baking pan?
Yeah, that's a good question because your baking pans can definitely change the cook times. I think Doug has the answer because maybe he looked it up.
So our friend at Google tell me that the short answer is yes, you can use a Pyrex dish, but you should, if you're using glass, you should reduce the oven temperature by 25 degrees, but bake for the same duration.
Okay, thank you.
I'm actually, our baking temperature is already so low. I would just try, I would test it early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that cooking something at 275 is going to be great. I don't know. I haven't done it. I don't think you should reduce it on this because we're already so reduced.
Oh, so just keep it at 300? Okay.
Yeah, and then just cut down the baking time a little bit and check it early and often and figure out how that's going to go. Sorry, I don't have a more scientific answer. Okay, are there any other questions for anybody? What to do when they're done? Oh, when they're done, we want to make sure what is the temperature. Okay, so we were cooking them at 300 degrees. The oven should be 300. When they come out, you want them to cool completely. And then you can, I usually just cut my brownies in the pan, but I usually use something like this. This is a Culikid knife if you have one, or if you have something that's not metal for your nonstick pan. That's gonna be what you wanna do to not mess up your pan, or you can, just try to be careful and then use a spatula to get them out. Then you just get to eat and enjoy them. How much time does it take to cook? 45 to 50 minutes. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit less. You want to make sure to check it at 45. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Olivia just reminded us, use oven mitts to make sure you don't burn yourselves when you take them out. Absolutely. Love oven mitts. They protect your whole hand. Use 2 of them. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming in. You've all got your brownies in the oven. You all have your timers set. Hold on, we got a question in the chat. It's 300 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. Okay. 300 degree oven, 45 to 50 minutes. Take them out, be careful, let them cool, cut them up, enjoy them for the Valentine's Day weekend. Send us those pictures, tag us if you're posting them, or send them to us. We want to see how they all come out, and we hope that you enjoy them and enjoy your weekend and Valentine's Day.
Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.